One. Good morning. Early Sunday shift.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
Very early.
Tanya, you have to show the people your shirt because I'm so tickled.
Okay. So, so
Due
this
to inflation, this is my Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's shirt. Absolutely. And Tanya's friend told her she had to wear it for all the holidays. And I agree.
I I don't have to worry about what to wear.
Period. Well, hey y'all, we are recording early because we are on vacation. We have church and we have family stuff, but we wanted to talk about these last little 3 days of GH. So make sure that you like, share, subscribe, tell a friend about Sunday Shift. Thank you to folks who have bought us coffees. We always appreciate it. And again, merch is available in the description. I'm going to try to do something. I feel like I can now and create like a link to the merch on YouTube. But look out for that in the new year. I don't really think I'm gonna have the energy to do it before then, but big things coming for next year with technology things that we are gonna try to improve.
All right.
Um, Tanya, how was your week? Your Thanksgiving week?
So, um, this week it was pretty light, obviously. And I spent a lot of time for myself. I made turkey thighs with gravy and just
Mhm.
dressing. That's all I made for myself. But I also made gumbo greens for my friends and cornbread.
My mom wouldn't
And
let me make the gumbo green. She was like, "We're not doing that."
ooh. And then for TV watching, I got sucked in and I watched Stranger Things. I had never watched that show
Mhm.
until, I don't know, for some reason, curiosity killed the cat for real. And I was like, I'm going to watch this show. And man, the best thing about the show was the little sister, the black character's little
Erica.
sister,
Can't
Erica.
spell America without Erica.
Oh my goodness, she's hilarious. I still haven't watched season five, but I watched all through season four. And I am almost done with my blankets. I have 5 rows left. I could have finished it last night, but I kept nodding off. Just like
Well, when you
literally,
fit,
I was like doing this, and then like, like,
well,
yeah,
when you
like,
finish it, you have to debut it for us, for anybody who watches us. Like you have to,
yes,
it's not the
yeah.
YouTube watchers, you have to debut it for us.
I'm definitely going to do that. I'm going to do a full social media blast because I've been working on this blanket for 5, 6 years,
Mm,
which is ridiculous, but I've been doing it. So yeah,
that's
that's my
funny.
weekend.
Yeah, I've been having lots of family time. I have four nephews. They're two, three, four, and five. Woo! Boys are a lot, but very joyful. Lots of both laughter and tears and fighting and loving each other. Lots of hugs. So it's been good. Um, this is the first time the four of them have all been together. They've all been together in some sort of combination before, but the four of them, it's the first time they're together. I have Stranger Things downloaded to watch like the first episode on my flight home. I like to be like in the right space for Stranger Things. So I'm all caught up. Um, obviously, but I have not. So the thing I've been watching down here is Bel Air. It's on
The what?
Peacock. Bel Air. It's
Oh,
on
Bel Air.
Peacock. It's like a
Yeah,
reimagining of the Fresh Prince into like a dramatized series.
yeah.
Really good cast, really like beautiful people, very talented people. And I've enjoyed it. So I was
Awesome.
behind, and so now I'm catching up.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on the Stranger Things thing. I don't watch horror, which is why it's such a surprise to me that I watched it.
Hmm.
And I literally had to watch it during the day. I cut it off at 5 o'clock and I
You said
have
when
to
the
watch
sun goes
something else.
down.
That's it. And even
Got
last
it.
night, I had a little tinge of, am I going to have a scary night? I made sure because I have this May the Force be with you sign in my house that lights up and the light is blue. So I usually turn it on in my hallway because I can walk in and not blind, but I didn't turn it on at all because it was blue light and most of their darkness and Stranger Things is tinged with blue. I was like, I cannot have that. Everything was golden light in my house until I went to bed, and I even fell asleep with the TV on because I did not want to be in the dark.
Understood. I resonate deeply.
It's hard when
I'm
you're living alone. It's hard.
mhm.
Yeah.
Well, who was your performers of the week?
Ooh, well, again, our cast is knocking it out of the park for several weeks, and so it's difficult to find a fave, but I managed had standout performances for Finn Carr, who is in jail, and we don't like that. And then he got
Nah,
roughed up. Oh, it was horrible. And then also, I have to give it up to Maurice Bernard for playing the angry mob grandpa who was like, nah, this is not happening to my progeny in the jail. Everybody knows who I am, even the little kids. They better not mess with you. So he brought that fierceness from the jail to PCPD. It was like, you pull him out or I will. Yes. Jeannie
mm,
Francis, ooh, panicky and guilty grandma. Oh, she's going through a time right now, and it shows she's acting herself off. Um, Carlos Rota, our
love him.
now GH resident enemy. Well, not enemy. He's just, the ruthless mob boss. We all think Drew's the enemy now, but Ruth, he has this ruthless, angry, and comedic energy that I love. It's like all kind of tied in together, and I love it. I love him. And then just special shout out to Steve Burton doing his best with the begging and trying to help. And then Bernie Watson, man, she had the line of the week. We'll talk about it. But yeah, giving it to Drew 100%. So those are my quick shout outs to the actors. Of course, all the whole cast is amazing.
Always best actors in daytime.
Always. Yes.
Um, I would also, I mean, I feel like we do this every week.
Hmm.
But I feel like Rory Gibson, like
Oh, yes,
being,
man.
yeah, what he did as Michael this week. We'll
Dark
talk about it,
Michael.
but it was like Dark Michael, but it was also like you understood
Righteous.
where the darkness, right? The darkness came
Yeah.
from.
Yeah.
Because I really do get frustrated with the characters. Be like, he's changed, he's changed, he's changed. How is he not supposed to change?
Right.
Like, what would you think if you got burnt to a crisp? You had to get sent from your family to like some clinic while your wife was like marrying your uncle. You supposed to come back happy?
Yeah, and then someone tweeted a montage of all the actors who played Michael through the years
Hmm.
and all the trauma that they endured. His whole life is trauma.
Yeah.
His whole damn life. And so, yeah, he has every right to be angry and respond to that and not be nice Michael anymore. So, yes,
Yeah,
definitely. Rory Gibson.
I think that they learned something as we get into the story. Like Michael, because Michael has always been a function of Carson. Well, what is it?
Mhm.
What does Tara call them? Jarson? Like
Jordan. Yes.
Jason, Carly,
Listen,
and Sunny.
Kirsten. Yes.
Like, so his trauma has been used to like forward story for them.
Hmm.
And this time, Michael is being used as his own story, that he is
Hmm.
driving story. He is like the focal point of it. He is
Hmm.
doing stuff without them. He is like moving about where they don't know what he's doing exactly. They have story outside of him. And so I think that that is part of the reason that people feel a way about Michael, because he's not just a function of these other characters. And that function has always been trauma. I mean, like you said to the montage, kidnapped, uh, presumed dead, uh, shot,
Hot at.
burnt up,
Yeah.
like, you know,
Hmm.
he's been that character has been through a lot because we basically watched him grow up as like the karma for the mob
Hmm.
characters. So
Mm.
anyway, we'll hop into it. Let's get into the week. Let's start with Rocco's Hospital, another thing we borrowed from Port Misery slash Tara. Um, so Dalton's dead, and there is nobody. So Sonny goes to see Laura. Laura is like, "Are you sure you should be here?" He was like, "I'm trying to be normal as possible, actually. And this is what I
Mhm.
normally would be doing about our nephew, our grandson being in jail." Laura kind
Mhm.
of has like a crisis of conscience. Is like, should I say something? I can keep you out of it. And so you have to remind her, like, girl, Nathan pulled you over, knew I was helping you. No, you cannot go back. This is
No.
done.
Yeah.
Um, and then she has the epiphany very quickly that Sidwell did it. And I laughed because I was like, every time Sidwell do some mess, everybody knows it's him right away.
Right
You know
away.
what I mean? Like when he burned down Charlie's and he tried to like frame Selena Wu people, it was like it wasn't Selena Wu people,
Mm.
it was him. So just on kind of that Laura Sunny part, even before Martin went came in, how did you feel about
Yeah.
their interaction? How did you feel about like Laura and Sunny and like the direction we're getting from them?
I mean, it's definitely unique and I love it. I'm glad that she, puts up like on Friday, she was totally vulnerable,
Mhm.
and totally like, what do I do? What do I do? And then now she's kind of getting back herself, getting back in her own head. And she's like, wait a minute, I should go to the police. Why am I relying on Sunny? But then at the same time, it's too late. I think that's one thing about interacting with the mob is like first you start off and you're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I need mob help. And then you're like, oh my God, why am I with the mob? Mobs are criminal too. And then it's too late. They always trap you when it's too late. You got to think right then and there. I cannot call the mob. I have to call the police, but you're too scared. But anyway, that's what happened with her. And then but Sunny was just like, it's too late, ma'am. You're going to implicate us both, and it's going to be really bad. And on top of the fact, we have Rocco as our motive. And
Right.
so that's something that's even worse. And so, yeah, they absolutely cannot go to the police. But, like I said, just having Jeannie Francis and Maurice Bernard together, acting together in a full story, not just a fly by night drive by, is great. Drive by. Um, um, it's just a master class, watching them together. And so it's very entertaining, very enjoyable. What's for me is crazy. It's just this real strong, we haven't talked about, we're about to talk about it, but this real strong feeling that Martin has against Sonny, and I just can't, I don't understand it. The only reason that I'm thinking of is because of True, but I'm just like, what
No,
did
that didn't
Sunny
make
do to
sense.
you? That doesn't make sense. What did Sunny do to you to make you hate him so bad? It's almost as inexplicable as Hat Daddy's hatred of Sunny, but
Oh yeah,
Hat
I forgot
Daddy's
about
more
that.
entertaining. Hat Daddy's more entertaining because we want to see him actually pull out the skills we know he has, but no one talks.
True. Well, before we get there, I do want to also say about Jeannie and Mo
Uh,
working together. Like, as far as like Sunny and Laura, that act like people forget, I think sometimes that
mhm.
working with Laura and Luke is what kind of got Sunny cemented on the show.
Yeah.
So to like even go into your point, I had tweeted about I was like annoyed at Martin because I was like,
Mm,
what is he talking about? In this comparison of Sunny and Cyrus, I'm not a Sunny defender. I mean, I
okay.
like Sunny, it's fine enough, but I'm not a defender of him. I'm not like, you gotta like Sunny. But I am saying that we have not been told a story that he is
Hmm.
like Cyrus.
Hmm.
And as a matter of fact, a lot of the stuff that people are like, oh, he put Karen on the pole, he did this, he did that. I'm not excusing that. But I am saying that the relationship that he ended up having with Luke and Laura and Lucky is kind of like the turning point for him. And
Hmm.
for me, I I have a tough time. I don't ever want to erase people's character history, but I also am really clear about when things were written and the stories that were being told at the time. So I don't think a 2025 Sunny could like put somebody on the pole and be forgiven.
Mm-mm.
But I think a 1990 Sunny, while there was telling a story like that on that particular canvas, can move past that and we see something different. And that happened through the relationship he had with Luke and Laura.
Mm-hmm.
And that like they're acting like Laura is some kind of delicate flower. Laura was married to Luke, who was also in the mob. Like this is not her first rodeo. And it was just bizarre to me. So then we have this thing with Martin coming in like, you were mad at me about what I did. Yeah, what you did was foul, Martin. To people that you cared about.
Exactly.
Like
Yes.
it, you're mad that she's mad at you, but that she's meeting with Sunny. And that like Sunny was the reason that all of this was happening to her. No, Martin, you work for Drew, and Drew was the reason this happened to her. And
Yeah.
then you leave Laura and you go have dinner and continue to work for Drew.
Right. He's
So
definitely
no,
hypocritical in this. He's the hypocrite in this. He's the monster.
it was like shocking to me. I like oh so like I was saying I did this tweet about Cyrus and I was like what we I off the top of my head I can talk about Cyrus running drugs when we know the story. We don't know what Sonny runs besides fake purses, but we know he don't run drugs. Like they've been really clear
Hmm.
that he doesn't do that.
Hmm.
So we have Cyrus um like running drugs, having such an overdose and being mad at Brando that he didn't like just throw her away.
Hmm.
We have like I mean it's just too much. We've had he's killed people. He's Sam specifically, he was doing Angel of Death stuff at the end of his life, would have killed Jocelyn. What are we talking about? Him and Sonny are not the same kind of person. And Sonny like
Right.
responded to me like, well, Sonny killed Jagger. Okay.
Yeah, but
There's a difference
was
between Sonny killing Jagger. I'm not excusing it, whatever. Jagger was annoying. I'm happy
right.
he's gone. But
Yeah.
Sonny killing Jagger, who was like going against his family, versus
Was
like Cyrus just being a psychopath. These are not the same characters.
was Sonny still in the throes of getting back on his meds during that time too, or was it still
Nah, I
like
think
no,
I think they was like
he
he
was
good.
fine. He's good. Okay, yeah. I think yeah, that's the only anomaly that people keep bringing up. But then I'm like, it's again in defense of his family. He's not actually, like just being like, well, everybody hated Jagger, so but
Hmm.
but it's different. It's a different thing. And it wasn't, yeah, I don't know. But anyway, I like Sonny. I am gonna defend him, even though I don't defend, mob life in general. But I
Hmm.
just like him as a character because I've, just seen him grow and seen him deal with different things. But I definitely like him now as mob grandpa, where he's kind of semi-retired, but not really. Because again, he realizes, I think all the conversations that him and Jason have had is that, he's just a kind of a controlling or um sentinel entity in Port Charles right now because with if it wasn't him, it'd be somebody else that's way worse. And we're seeing that right now with Sidwell. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I just was like kind of over it with Martin. I love me some Tad the Cad, so that
yeah,
actor is good with me. I'm not really sure what they're doing with the character, who they have him going up
right.
against, like the cruelty of the way he went up against Tracy. Like he tried to like defend that. He was like, I was right
Yeah.
and wrong.
No, you weren't.
You were undermining the wishes of a dead woman.
Exactly.
What are you talking about? You were
And
not right and
blackmailing,
wrong. Right.
not blackmailing, an innocent, waitress from Hoboken. Just so that's crazy. He
Like
did way too much.
it just is not. And again, the relationship with Drew,
Uh-huh.
who you came in there guns a blazing, like, oh, well, Sonny is the reason. Your client is the reason. This is wild, Martin. Absolutely not. Well, poor Rocco gets beat up in jail. Um, Before he gets beat up, we have uh, Dante coming to see him. So when he
Hmm.
gets beat up, Rocco kind of assumes that it's because his dad's a cop.
Right.
Sonny comes to see him, lays down the law with everybody. Britt comes to see him, is doing the most. But she does like administer some first aid. And then Lulu comes to see him with AI Nathan, who
Mhm.
I guess is a little bit less AI. He's just normal now. I don't know. I don't know.
And that someone was commenting that I think another kind of Facebook reviewer was commenting that he has this like little glint in his eye that people can see that there's just something a little bit off. But yes, he's full Nathan in now, even though he's still AI. He's learning as he goes. That's the nature of AI, I guess, is that
True,
they learn
true.
as they go. And so he's definitely doing that.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
so
He's like co-pilot, like Microsoft co-pilot Nathan.
yeah.
But he takes Lulu. There might have been a little spark. I don't know if people have been seeing it
Yeah,
between the two of them.
people are shipping them definitely. Which I'm a little like, Maxie, hello, but Maxie might have changed. She might be like full on Spinelli now and be like, well, Nathan, it was good while it was good, but I'm shipping Spinelli.
Maybe we'll
So
see.
no,
Could
we
get
never know.
messy,
Could
but it
get.
doesn't feel like our show does messy well enough for that. Um, but But in all of that, Nathan sees like the status of Rocco, and at the same time, we're like they're also running this investigation where everybody's looking for Dalton.
Uh-huh.
Interesting enough with this, they feel like Dalton maybe disappeared so he didn't perjure himself, as opposed to
Yeah,
something being wrong, which I find to
right.
be interesting.
I also find interesting that, they kind of dropped the whole case against the judge. The judge thing that disappeared. They're like, well, now, she's dead, but we got more important things to out. Rocco,
Yeah,
Dalton, and who shot Drew.
yeah,
Like,
but that
whatever about
judge
this
is who
judge.
cares? Nobody cares about
He,
her.
nobody cares
Uh,
about her anymore.
Sorry, girl. Shouldn't have been blackmailed. I don't know. And so we, so all of this is going on. Nathan sees like the state of Rocco and is like, I'm taking him back to the PCPD. Now, I don't know what happens in other places. I don't think that's legal, but we rocking with it. Um, he takes him back to the PCPD. Um, Rocco has a bail hearing. Rocco's able to go home
For Turkey Day and
for
the
Turkey Day.
shenanigans.
Meanwhile, his siblings, Charlotte and Danny, oh my God, I cracked up. So they are thinking they have to give this story and they want to like make it extra so that Rocco's not in trouble. So they're telling their story. Danny is like, this. And then, oh my God, he punched Rocco in the stomach. Everybody in the
Charlotte,
room was like,
wait, are you sure?
Jason, I cried laughing. I was like, man, Alan and Monica will be having a field day knowing this is what you're going through with your son. Danny is keeping Jason on his toes, and I am so entertained
For
by it.
real. For real.
And, like Alexis looked like Danny. If you don't get out of here, Laura was like, "It's okay if y'all are lying. You can just tell me. You can tell me the truth now." They're like, "No, no, no. He punched him."
They were sincere. He was sincere, and then
Charlotte.
everyone's like, "Are you sure this is the story you want to tell?" Like they knew right off the bat this was a huge ass lie, and they were not just so bad at it.
They're like, let's go outside.
Right.
Then those let's go. And they're
Ah,
even like, yeah, Danny's like, my dad can tell I'm lying.
right.
Danny and Jason just delight me so much. It's like Dad, Jason, hilarious. So they all get together and it's just Lulu and Jason. They let the kids talk. They go outside. And there's two
Well,
separate conversations happening.
that was after Rocco
Yeah,
actually
when
comes
Rocco gets
home.
home.
Yeah.
Sorry. When Rocco
Yeah.
gets home. So it looks like they might not have to put forward these fake stories. We don't know.
Yes.
But um, Lulu tells the kids they can talk while her and Jason go talk outside. So we have two separate conversations going on.
Mhm.
Outside, we have Lulu and Jason really talking about the targets that are on their kids' backs, which
Mhm.
I hadn't really considered, which is very true. You know, whether it's mob, whether it's spy, whether it's cop, like every single entity that has like people coming at you, you know, Lulu, I was gonna say a lawyer, but you're a reporter who takes on big stories too. These
Yeah.
kids do have every single thing coming their way.
And I think what ends up happening is they realize that they have to keep an extra watchful eye on their kids together. So it's almost like they have to co-parent these kids in the same way that Jason had kind of a little bit of pact with Dante. He's now bringing Lulu into it and realizing,
Hmm.
these kids, we have to do what's best for these kids together, despite whatever had been going on in the past with them. They know that they're a co-parenting team right now, which is neat. I'm
And
interested in it because they,
necessary,
yeah,
because them kids didn't learn
necessary.
nothing.
They did not.
Them kids learned nothing. Okay. Even when
Charlotte, I
Rocco
mean,
first walked in, he was like, you know, she was concerned. He was like, girls dig scars. Then he was like, that's tattoos, bro.
yeah, no.
Danny.
So, I mean, it was funny because Charlotte has the confidence of a schemer. She's trying to be like her dad, unconsciously, but she's not good at it yet. She still needs to get some training. Um, but she has that confidence. She's like, yeah, we're gonna get away with this. We're gonna tell. Like she's the one that convinced Danny about the lie, I
Hmm.
believe. And
Yeah.
she's like, yeah, we're gonna get away with this, and it's gonna be easy, and we're gonna rescue Rocco.
Yeah. Yeah.
Child, no, you have not been WSB trained. You don't know how to lie yet. So
Well, they were like, I would have done it again. This
you
is a
know,
rush. Over here
whatever.
toasting sodas to.
Yes.
And so it was interesting
Oh,
that these parallel conversations were happening because I feel like that sets
yeah.
up that these kids about to be into
The,
shenanigans. Because if they shenan once, they're
the
gonna shenan again.
shenanigan.
Like, good luck to these parents because I'm
All
looking
the
forward to them. And I
the
want to talk.
shenanigans.
I do want to talk a little bit towards the end about like what's happening with both Trina and Jocelyn's stories. But I will
Uh-huh.
say that these young adults far surpassing what Trina and Jocelyn got
Yes.
going on. And that's
Way more
unfortunate.
interesting. It is.
That it's almost like the show doesn't know how to write because when we kind of fell in love with like the Trina character and all of that was when they were around this age going into adulthood. So it's almost like
Yeah.
the show doesn't know how to write that kind of middle or that,
Yeah.
like that young adult.
Type thing. And
Yeah.
we felt this about, the age group with Michael and Maxie and all of them. It's just like, well, Maxie she has her own little world to deal with. But that age group, it's like you don't really know how to write for them because they're kind of like adults and they know better. But their lives aren't as interesting as the kids for some
Or
reason.
they just don't know how to
Eh,
make it as interesting
that
because
girl
even I
frustrating.
mean these
Yeah,
kids should not still be in college. Like, what are we doing?
right. Yeah.
Anyway, we'll keep going. We'll keep going. Let's talk about Carly and this honey pot she's doing. I need this to end. I am so uncomfortable every time Carly is with Brennan. She looks like
Yeah,
she's in pain. She looks like there against her will. It's not a good look. I don't like it.
it's not.
I'm not a fan. Um,
Even though, I mean, I'm just anticipating I'm anticipating the scheme and how it'll all come out. Like, I really, what I'm more anticipating is her actually going off on Brennan for all the things that he's done.
sure.
But we have to, so she's enduring, we're enduring until that awesome day. But, you know, according to, social media chatter and Chris McKenna himself, he's saying like deep down that Brennan knows something is off. And
Yeah, yeah,
so
for sure, for sure. Because
yeah,
he keeps
and
asking her, and then she keeps having to come up with something else. So, I mean, she looks
right.
disgusted every time she talks to him, or like,
Yeah.
whatever. Like, she looks like
Has
she
to
doesn't
make
want to
out
sleep
with
with him.
him.
Right. You're
Right.
waking up next to him disgusted. Like, and
Like,
then
I
every
gotta
time he
go.
asks you, she asks you
Yeah.
about Josh, and she, like, says something about Josh.
Yeah.
So his spy senses may not know why she's upset or what's going on, but he knows that something's going on, that she's not happy about something.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes me so uncomfortable. And it's not even that I don't like the story of Carly like getting over on a man. It's that everything surrounding it, like that she looks so uncomfortable that
Hmm.
that's the part that I don't like. If it was more like she was in control and she was looked like she was into it, and then when she left, she wasn't. But the way they have
Yeah.
it being played is just tough to watch for me personally.
Yeah, like she's like she even though, Carly's a schemer, but she also doesn't hide how she like she's not as adept at it. I'm just trying to like thinking like about Ava. Ava would have played it off 100%. She wouldn't have
Hmm.
cared. But I think Carly is just not the same way. And so yeah, it's a different dynamic. They both have the same energy and chutzpah, but Carly
Hmm.
reacts to what she's doing, and Ava's more professional because she grew up in
Right.
it.
Right, right. Um, so yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but we have Carly getting up to take a shower, ordering food, and then Brennan's like, okay, and then he like calls Jocelyn, who's in the bed with Timu Dex, and he tells her that she needs to make up with her mom.
Mhm.
And she was like, is this for world security or for your relationship? And he was like, both.
Like both.
So he has all of this smoke for Jocelyn and Timu Dex when he is like using this to further his relationship.
Yeah.
We do finally get us because I had been really frustrated with Jocelyn, specifically around the way she's had to use her family, and we haven't gotten a lot of perspective from her about what it means to use her family like this. So we finally do get this scene with her talking about loving Lucas and how this is really
Hmm.
tough for her and knowing Lucas deserves better. How did you feel
Hmm.
about that? I thought it was interesting. I was glad we got it. How did you feel?
I mean, I'm glad too, and I'm glad she's definitely seeing the downside of being in this business. I don't know what it means. It's almost like right now we saw a lot of it from Anna after the fact, and so it makes me wonder when Anna comes back if Jocelyn goes to her and talks to her about it. I'm
Mm,
thinking, I'm not sure if this will mean that she will actually quit WSB on her own, outside of all when she finds out all the shenanigans that Brennan has been involved in, or if, after
right.
her confrontation with Carly or whatever, or something else. At the very least, I think it'll be something that she could talk with Anna about. Hopefully she'll do that. Yeah,
They'd have
and
to
I'm glad
remember
that
that
she's
Anna is somewhere because we don't know where she at.
yeah, when Anna comes back from, Finola Hughes comes back from vacation. Um, so it's just like, yeah, for now, I'm glad that she's seeing that there's a downside to this spy business. And, at first she was feeling it because, she has to be away from her family and her friends. And now she's feeling like, okay, I'm directly involved in this plot that's involved with my family. She's not feeling, I don't know if she gets that she's being used in a way, but she understands that she right now, she's in the middle of it with her family and not liking it.
Hmm.
But if she's not involved in a story with her family, then what's the reason for her being in Port Charles? She'd actually probably would have to disappear.
You're right.
And I don't know if she knows the consequences of that. So,
Yeah, you're right.
hey.
Yeah. I mean, they also made it seem, which is confusing, like, did y'all
Yeah.
like recruit her because she was close to them? Or was
Uh-huh.
that like, you know what I mean? Like, did you know when you were
Yeah.
doing this recruitment that this is like what we were doing?
I
Or did
kind of
this
feel like
happen?
happenstance. I feel like Brennan did. He was
Hmm.
like, I need a way to get closer to this family because I don't know if he actually thought maybe being with Carly would help him get in, or he just happened to fall in love with Carly, but he knew that he needed somebody close to the family for some reason.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
think there's a very good reason why he chose Jocelyn.
Yeah.
And she happened to be suffering and feeling guilt and all that other stuff. She was ripe for the picking.
And that is something they've tried to like tell us, right? That like
Yeah.
that I didn't really get that story from everything that happened with Anna, but
Uh-huh.
until she started saying that like the WSB essentially like took advantage of her,
Uh-huh.
which I thought was interesting because that's not the way I had thought about the WSB. I don't know, like shout out to like Anna fans, if people who have like really paid attention to this like did see it that way, I would love to hear what y'all think. But I never
Yeah.
looked at it as like, oh, the WSB is taking advantage of me. Until
I
like
kind of
the double agency, like all that other stuff. But I didn't take it
yeah.
as like, oh, she was recruited young and they did this thing to her. That was interesting to me.
It kind of came, well, it wasn't explicit to me, but they definitely took advantage of Valentine in that way.
Mm,
Because
true.
they used his one isn't obviously he probably had familial skills handed down to him, but they also took advantage of the fact that he was scarred and all this
Hmm.
other stuff, and they fixed him up and then trained him. So they had a pattern. Maybe it didn't start with Anna. Maybe it did. We'll hopefully hear from our fans to tell us. But they definitely did that to Valentine, and now they're doing it to Jocelyn. Um, so we
Yeah.
shall see.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the thing that we are really looking at with when
Uh-huh,
this all blows up. And I think that that's going to be the way they get her out. Um,
uh-huh.
but I just don't understand how this spy
Oh,
thing goes long. Oh, go ahead.
and they did it with Dante too.
Oh yeah, that's
They
true.
took
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true.
And Dante got out. So we do have an example of somebody getting out of the WSB. So we'll see.
But it was like those people weren't like secret spies.
No.
So that's
Yeah,
the other
Jocelyn's
thing that's
definitely
like different.
secret.
Yeah,
Yeah.
secret spies. What a weird. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. But we do have this conversation. Like I said, Jocelyn Timu Dex. She talks about how she feels. Brennan encourages both of them separately, both Jocelyn and Carly, to like talk with each other. So they meet up and they happen to meet up at the hospital. In the hospital, I want to hear how you feel about this conversation between Lucas and Elizabeth, where Lucas is like, "Oh, well, I feel like Marco is still blaming Sonny, and that's hard." Lucas,
Sir, you were
I'm gonna
blaming
hold your
him.
hand.
Ah, sir. He was
I'm gonna
blaming,
hold your hand when I said this to you, Lucas.
he's just looking at him.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I did not mean to interrupt you.
No, but it's true. Like Lucas was the one that was blaming Sonny from the get, and now he's just like, "Oh, well, Marco's doing it too much now." Sir. I love that Elizabeth was telling him the truth. Don't go up against Sonny because your family is definitely connected to them. And he's just like, whatever, but he's all in on Marcus right now. Marcos. So he's definitely in this foolishly in love stage. And I hate the fact that he feels that, Carly is his enemy because she doesn't agree. And he's very, again, hypocritical in the same way that Martin is that he can't stand that Sonny is so involved. I mean, Carly is so involved with Sonny. And yet here you are just enmeshing yourself in another mob family and saying that Marco is different. That's how they reel you in, sir. That's how the romantic mob people reel you in. They were like,
Exactly.
I'm different and I love you. And the people who hurt me deserve to be hurt. No one deserves to be hurt. Okay. So you are just being reeled in into the mob romance atmosphere, and you need to own up the fact that you are being hypocritical and angry with Carly for behavior that you're actually doing. And she's just trying to warn you, sir. But yeah.
Right. It is exceedingly frustrating to watch
Mhm.
Lucas act like he doesn't know who Sidwell is. Like, it very much is. I'm mad at, and if Lucas is mad at Sonny, I'm not really tripping at Lucas being mad at Sonny. He did just dating your man. It is what it is.
Right. Right.
However, comma, he also did this other stuff to your family, which is lucky. He's also done this
Right.
other stuff to people who you know and care about. They are telling
Yeah.
you this over and over again, and you do not have that same smoke. So it's given, as long as you don't do it to my man, you can mob all you want. I don't like that. Yeah, so that's our problem with Lucas. Like, it's if you did it to my man, not even my family. If you did it to my man, I'm mad at you. Otherwise, whatever. And so he's like, Marco is obsessed with Sonny, and he, thinks that Sonny did this to Natalia. Okay. So I do appreciate Elizabeth being like, listen, love your man. Do not get in the middle of this stuff with your family. And felt like good
Yeah.
advice.
Mhm.
So we also have Joss and Carly still on the opposite side of this, but trying to like make peace. Um, and Carly keeps like running up on Joss, like, okay, so tell me why you have been okay with this. That you actually know that Sidwell ain't no good. You actually know that Lucas shouldn't be living there. You know all of this, and yet and still you are encouraging it. Josh's
Mhm.
point was like, well, he gonna do what he want to do, and Carly's point is like, but you know better. I also appreciated Carly saying to Brennan, because she obviously is trying to like make him guilty. Jocelyn made no allowances when she was with Sonny. Not completely true, but Jocelyn made no allowances when she was with Sonny, but now she got all of this like forgiveness for Sidwell. Probably the most
And
interesting
so,
part of the spy story to me, to be honest.
yeah, I think subconsciously Carly is manipulating them both into kind of guilt outing themselves. Because
I
you
think
can see that
consciously.
yeah, like Sidwell is like, you got to make up with your mom and, making them feel guilty about the part that they're playing. It's really, it's interesting. Yeah, you're
Oh,
probably right.
Brennan,
It
not
probably is
Sidwell.
conscious. Yeah, Brennan. Yeah. I
Hmm.
think she's making them both feel guilty about the role that they're playing in this spy game. And I think yeah, definitely very interesting.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what
Uh,
happens. And then the last part of the spy story is that so Timu Dex goes to Brennan to be like, listen, I've gotten some information about Dalton because they don't, these terrible spies don't know Dalton's gone. I got some information about
Hmm.
Dalton. He's supposed to come see me at the WSB. And he tells them how he got it. Like Jocelyn came to the Brown Dog. And Brendan said, oh, Joss was there. Yeah.
Hmm.
And he also informs him that he will, you know, take it from here. And he gets his henchmen to take dude away.
Well, yeah, he's like he definitely says, I told you what will happen when you double cross me. And he clearly told them that they should not be sleeping together. And I
Hmm.
think he just based off of the phone call and the story that Timu Deck said, he got that he and Jocelyn are still mixing. I think they're not even supposed to see each other at all, um,
Hmm.
but not just sleeping together, but see each other at all. They're supposed to avoid each other, but he knows that they're sleeping together, and he's like, "This is what happens when you double cross me," and snatched him away. Now, I'm the way he said it and the sinister way that they just grabbed at him makes me think that Brennan's going to kill Dex. But at the other hand, he might just be pulling him up and just disappearing him and putting him on another assignment. But they made it sound
Yeah.
like he got not just pulled from the
Yeah.
assignment. So I was like, so now they're making Brennan to be more like what's his name that got killed off?
Jagger.
I don't know. Jagger, yeah. Are they turning him into a Jagger like figure?
I mean, that's a good
I
question
mean,
because to your
yeah,
point, um, we, I'm assuming that he's not gone because we didn't get any articles about him being gone. We didn't hear from soap opera digest or
yeah,
anybody like that, no extra interview. But it did
yeah.
like look pretty much like, nah, you out of here. So I don't know.
Right. Oof.
Well,
In
we'll
any
see what
case, in
happens.
trouble. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Okay, we also have let's get into like the Drew of it all because that is, the last little bit. I will say, here's my thing about the Drew of it all. I feel like Drew has gone too far, and I don't understand what the point is with him. I feel like he's no longer entertaining. I get it. I get like at first, like Cameron Matheson, they kind of didn't know what they were doing with Drew. He was a little boring. He was whatever. But now I'm not entertained by him. I kind of get annoyed every time I see him. I don't know. How are you feeling before we even hop into like all of what Drew's been doing? How are you feeling about the direction of the character? Even like as far as entertainment purposes, not if you like him, but like how are you feeling about his place on what they're doing with him?
Yeah, I think because of the pace of which he's going against people, it's not as entertaining anymore. And it's
Mhm.
almost like a caricature. Because
Mhm.
remember when I think a couple of podcasts before, I said, well, now that, whenever Drew comes along and he's overly bragging about how his schemes and how he thinks that he's won and he comes in and gets in people's face, that's when I know it didn't work. Because it's almost like now it's almost like a game. Like he schemes and he goes 100% all in, 10 toes down, being evil. And then at the very end, he ends up losing. And now I feel like that's a standard story, and I'm
Right.
not going to be surprised by it anymore. It would have
Right.
been better if he actually won at something. Like if Laura actually lost the race, then it would have been like a little bit more interesting because then we get to see the repercussions. Like I was actually interested if he actually won the house because then I was like, oh, well, then Tracy has to buy a new mansion and then they all live in a different house or whatever. But he didn't. And again, he schemed hella hard to get Laura to lose the election, and she didn't lose. And so now it's like they have to, now they're turning it in another direction where he's going to go all out against Curtis. And I feel like he's not going to win at that either. And so now it's like it's not as entertaining to me. So I think it's like I think they want to make him as a kind of like an Adam Chandler kind of character villain, a long term one, but it's not as successful because, like you had mentioned before, even Adam Chandler had heart. He had something that he cared about, which was legitimate. He need like Stewart was somebody who, everybody loved and everybody, on All My Children, for those who don't watch, Adam Chandler was the evil baddie, but he had a twin brother, Stewart, who everybody loved and he loved too, and he protected him. I think they're trying to make Drew into a similar long-term evil kind of sketchy person, but I mean, the only person that he seems to care about is Willow, but that isn't a legitimate where everyone understands and everyone agrees that yes, Willow should be loved because Willow shouldn't be loved because she's stupid. She's vulnerable and she did Michael really wrong. And so no one's going to champion that care and that concern in the same way as we champion Adam and All My Children. So I'm feeling like they need to kind of either take a step back from Drew being evil and actually showing a way that we can actually care about him again. Because he's not gonna be long term, and he's not cultivating a long term um interest from the viewers in the same way that Adam Chandler did. So he might be like Victor. Victor Cassadine. I mean, Victor was kind of like the understood baddie, and we kind of liked, but we cared about him because he cared about his Cassadine family. But then he became a little fanatic about it, and then he had to go. So Drew might be and on his way out sooner or later because he's becoming too fanatic about it.
See, I hope they don't think that Drew's Adam Chandler because he's not.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I don't even I wouldn't even put them in the same archetype. I think that there's something about like remembering characters like Adam Chandler had like grounding forces, but I don't
Hmm.
think that they're similar characters. And I even think
I think they're
that
trying to
Vic
make him. I feel like the writers are trying to make him that way, but they're not successful.
that's interesting to me if that's true.
Yeah.
It doesn't even feel
Mhm.
because to your point, he is not winning anything.
Great.
And I don't want to see him win anything because he doesn't have a reason that is
Mhm.
compelling.
Mhm.
I think that if they would have turned Billy Miller's Drew into this character post the Jason reveal, that would have made more sense. And less about being obsessed with Michael and more about being obsessed with like trying to get some semblance of his life back. If people
Mhm.
would have rejected him, if like that could have been an interesting story. Instead, they told a story of Drew's a good guy. Now he has Oscar. He's still a quartermain. Monica still loves him. He has to find his footing, whatever, whatever. Cameron's Drew was never even given, like, even the idea of like going back to loving him, he was never given that opportunity. They wrote a really, I actually really liked Carly and Drew.
Mhm.
I happened to go back to watch a little bit of it because it came up on my YouTube algorithm, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I always liked their chemistry, and I remember that they were not popular, and it's because they had a terrible story."
Mhm.
Drew was kind of just like Carly's fill-in. We don't need any more of like Jason's pseudo brothers being Carly's fill-in when Jason's not there. That didn't work the first time. It wasn't necessary to do the second time. They tried it with Jake Doe, then Jason, then Drew. They tried it with Franco. Just let the character be and let him be like who he is. People liked him, I think, with Scout. People liked him trying to do Quartermain things. And I think that if he wouldn't have been such like a simp for Carly, that would have worked too. But nobody wanted to see that relationship. It was also kind of at the height of like the Sona stuff, and people really wanted Carson back. So it just never really worked out. And then immediately he goes to like pursuing Willow, sleeping with Willow. It's not likable. And there is nothing rootable about him and Willow. Even to the point of, he's sitting there with Martin, he's talking with Martin about Alexis's strategy, and he's like, I always get what I want, what I really want, what I really want is Willow. That's not love, that's desire, that's whatever. That is possession and obsession. And then
And
he
it's
turns around,
wild, but it's wild because he's like, I always get what I want. When have you always gotten what you want? They
never,
make it sound like he's been an established powerhouse since the very get, and he hasn't.
no,
Like him, he only won one thing, and that's an election.
right,
That's it.
right. And then you have him saying, "Oh well, Alexis better do this, or she won't see her granddaughter." I am leveraging my daughter's mental health, well-being, and happiness on whether or not people do what I want. That is unlikable. So it's
Right.
not just like basic unlikable things. They have pushed him to the point where there's nothing that he is doing that is interesting, that is likable, that is rootable, and then he is constantly there. Then you have Willow showing off to Elizabeth her ring. Girl, we've seen this ring. You haven't reset it. You haven't. That is weird.
It
It is
is.
weird that your
It is
fiance
wild.
is reproposing to you with the wedding ring that you had with your ex-husband. And the only person who knows that that's a problem is Brooklyn. So
Oh, I
okay,
think
let's go in
Michael
sequential
knows it's a
order.
problem.
Well, that too.
I think-
But besides Michael. Okay, so let's go into sequential order.
yeah.
So um, Trina is talking to Ava and is like, I told Jordan, da 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 da. Okay, Trina. Portia shows up. We find out that Portia's not coming to Thanksgiving, and Portia also is like not having dinner with Trina that night because Trina's going to have dinner with Stella. And Stella is trying to convince Curtis to get back with Portia because they have a baby on the way. Curtis is like handing out the sonogram, making Trina look even more ridiculous. The only person who don't know is Trina. Trina shows up. Drew is there. Stella's like, I'm about to go snap on Drew. And snap on Drew she does. Trina said, should we stop her? And Curtis said, let her cook.
Uh-uh. Let her cook. I That was one of my hot takes. I was
Mhm.
like, I know the GH writers did not write that.
Donnell definitely
He
ad-libbed
ad-libbed,
that.
ad-libbed that. And they let it slide because they know they're
Yeah,
not black enough.
yeah. He ad-libbed that. How did you feel about Stella and her approach with Drew?
I mean, she's typical black mama. She gonna tell him how it is, and she ain't afraid. She's like, whatever. You're bad. You are a horrible person. I'm gonna tell you, and that's that.
Yeah.
I think and it almost makes me think that because I think he talked about it, or the character or the actor talked about how sometimes he has to go to the writers and be like, this is how you're supposed to write for Black people. And I think they kind of let him and Stella have a little bit of leeway in that way because that's
Hmm.
what a Black woman would do. Especially an older Black woman, because they give zero F's about anything. They say what they want to say and just let it go. So I think
Hmm.
I think they let Curtis and um and Stella act in a way that's really typical of Black. Well, not Curtis, unless you want to talk about him being, a gigolo or whatever. But but Stella gets to act like a Black mama, and she gets away
Yeah,
with stuff. Yeah,
yeah. I will say that I actually think that part of the problem with Black Hospital is that they have allowed that to happen.
yeah.
Because I saw like a article of Donnell talking about how he's the
Oh
Black
wow.
Luke Spencer, and that like he also said something about like the Ashfords being like the first Black family or something like that. I'm like, that's like, how do you
No.
know the deep lore of Luke and Laura and all of this that you don't know, like the wards and like what are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
him yeah,
and
he
so
can't equate that.
I think that like to me they keep allowing make I mean Trina has become a worse character since her whole world has been about Curtis. Right now they
Mhm.
have Trina being a petulant child about her parents being together when these were not people you even grew up with being together.
Yeah.
That is wild. We have not heard her talk about her dad. A really good story for Trina right now. People keep saying what could happen for Trina. One, I think that they have to like pause any sort of romance for her because it does not seem like people are taking well to that. Like her fandom is not like fans of her romances. People kind of want Spencer, whatever, whatever. I'm not here or there. But we could have her helping Taggart through alcoholism and like having how
Hmm.
that impacts her. How have her be like, I actually like abandoned my dad for
Hmm.
this other family. Now I feel guilty. Now I'm gonna like, do something here. Right. And then like even tie it into art somehow.
Yeah.
That would be a good story for Trina that is like separate from like the childish stuff they have her do.
Hmm.
And so I said that to say that I think that creating the whole like Black hospital and making Curtis the center is the problem because the whole Black hospital actually used to be like the central part of Black hospital used to be Trina,
Hmm.
and now it's not, and Trina has only been hurt by it. So anyway, Drew said something about Stella getting old. She jumped at him. This is again is my issue with Martin. Like you sitting here talking about and judging other people when you are working for this man. Whatever, Martin. And so we have this happen. We also have Portia at the art gallery talking to Ava, and Ava lets her know Nina has told somebody about her interaction, essentially threw Portia under the bus. And
Yeah.
Portia gets mad. Portia is also, and she did also say something about how if she has to put out an alibi, it'll be bad for her in a different way. So I'm assuming that the alibi will be Isaac.
Isaiah. Yeah.
Yeah. PCPD is revisiting the case. They want to make sure that like they can counter Alexis' strategy of saying that they didn't do a good job with the case, and Curtis is now at the top of the list to like look into because Curtis has motive or Curtis has no alibi, but they don't quite know the motive.
Hmm.
We also find out that Drew thinks Curtis did it because the black milk material is gone. He still wants to frame
Yeah. Yeah.
him. Drew lets the Westbournes know that he is going to get married. And Liesel goes to Willow to try to make peace between her and Nina. Let me say this. At the height of my Nina hate, I could never imagine her being this pathetic.
It's sad.
How many people is Nina going to throw under the bus for Willow's ungrateful? Willow is talking about how she can't forgive Nina but she about to marry Drew again.
Yeah.
What is the difference?
Drew's the one that slept with your mom. Hello? Putting a man
Like,
over her family is like ridiculous. And we shouldn't be surprised because she put Drew over her own kids.
and it also was like weird because before it felt like she was in pain to do this,
Mm,
but she kind of was like showing the ring off to Liz, acting like she was happy to get married, or acting like it was a big deal if people like supported the marriage or not. Girl,
yeah.
no. But she has this come to Jesus moment with Lisa. She says she's gonna try again with Nina, but Nina begging and looking pathetic was, I mean, girl, I could have never imagined this at the height of my Nina hate,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah. Very sad.
I could
But
have never imagined.
we get our first Thanksgiving miracle in that Willow forgives Nina at least enough to have her at the wedding.
Which, yuck.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and then we have Michael versus Chase, and that's our last thing to end it off on.
Woo!
So Michael talks to Elizabeth, and I actually appreciated Michael having this perspective with Elizabeth. Again, like telling her, like, this is what was happening to me. I was in pain. I had like this PTSD from even being in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And, Elizabeth's like, well, maybe you should let Willow see the kids and da 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 da. Everybody wants Michael to like let Willow see these kids on Willow's side on some like you need to save Willow from Drew. Not on some like it's good for the kids, she's a good mom. That's not what they say. It's always, well, she needs this. Okay. And anyway, that's when Michael sees when he like kind of leaves that Willow is engaged again. Goes home while Shaylin is having like a conversation about whether or not they should like host Thanksgiving because Chase wants to eat. Michael comes in, sees them, he about to leave, and Willow's like, "Well, what?" Or not Willow, sorry. Would never call her
Brooklyn.
Willow. Would never. So sorry. Brooklyn is like, "Do you want to help us like with dinner?" And Michael said, "Maybe me and
Nope.
Chase shouldn't be around these knives." And Chase is like going into this like, I think Willow is innocent. It's not, my fault that you are a suspect. I want, where's Tracy? Put this man out of this house. I'm done. Enough.
Yes, he
And
is
so Monica's favorite grandchild should not have to
out of
deal with
pocket.
Chase.
Out of pocket.
So Michael was like, well, you know her so much. Did you know she was getting married to Drew on Thanksgiving? And did you know that she was wearing my engagement ring? Brooklyn, of course, disgusted. Chase, Drew made her do it.
Right. Exactly. Well, clearly this wasn't Willow's idea, sir.
The only person who gives Willow less agency than Drew is Chase.
And Nina.
Well, that's it.
Well, yeah.
So Michael, leaves, and here goes Chase. I think that Michael's trying to make Willow look bad.
She's making herself look bad.
Okay. So he then says, you know, Michael is the problem, this and that, and he can't believe that Brooklyn is on Michael's side because he thought Brooklyn was thinking Michael was guilty. Brooklyn, for her part, I didn't really care for, but it was like he helped me with Geo, so therefore he might be innocent. Brooklyn, we'll take it though.
Yeah.
And
And it's crazy. Um, I really feel like Chase, for me, it's like Chase in that conversation, fully admitting that he has not been there for his wife. Because Brooklyn was telling Chase how Michael helped with Geo, and and she was really grateful to him, to Michael for that. And then Chase was like, "Yeah, Michael was there for you when I haven't. And I, want you to know that you are my top priority." Yada
Hmm.
yada. Um, no, that's not good enough. Brooklyn accepted it, but I'm not accepting it. Like, no, you're admitting that you aren't prioritizing your own family, your own career, your own job, all for Willow. So it's not good enough. You wanting to make a turkey for Thanksgiving is not good enough. You need to stop being in the middle of this investigation. And I wish that Brooklyn said the same thing. Fixing a turkey for Thanksgiving is not going to fix what you've broken.
Hmm.
But she's not there yet. I need her to get there. I don't know what it's going to take, but I need her to just nip this in the bud because Chase is taking it way too far.
Yep. Yep. So I'm not interested in what Chase has to say about this, but they are apparently trying to, um, this ends with them trying to do Thanksgiving dinner together. Whatever. Chase, go to hell. I don't know. I don't have anything else. And that is what we have for the week. What are your hot takes?
I talked about everything. I said I like Nina's haircut. Um, and then I wrote, this was funny to me. So the line that Stella had was, she wouldn't be surprised if someone took another shot at him, at his ass.
Like his ass.
And
Yeah.
then, yeah, and she said it with such ferocity. It was funny to me that Cameron Matheson kind of wiped his face. And I
Yeah,
was
he
like,
was laughing.
did Stella spit at him too? I was just like cracking up.
Maybe he did, but he definitely laughed. Like he wanted to laugh
Yeah.
for
He was
sure.
just like, so yeah, it was that's why it was so fun to see Stella do it because they both were in on it. They were just like goading her, and then she was just going off. And I think, Vernie Watson and Cameron Matheson were full on in it, and they were enjoying it as much as the
Yeah,
audience. So
yeah.
yeah.
I think that is like one of the few times that I like actually enjoyed like somebody actually giving it to Drew. I think Cameron Matheson is doing his best with what he's given. He's working really hard to lean in. It's just what he's given
Yeah,
is so deeply unlikable and there's no balance to it. Um,
yeah,
yeah. So
yeah,
he's really trying, but it's not great. The writing for Drew is not.
yeah.
The other thing I had was to talk about Shrita and Joss. And I don't want to go too far into it, but I have so there was like this conversation about like what to write for Trina and what's going on with her. And it always inevitably goes back to Jocelyn. And like, oh, she gets all this. And it's like always people trying to compare these two. Y'all know that I'm a fan of both of them. I don't do that. I hate when like Eden gets thrown into like bitterness around Trina because Eden doesn't get a good story either. Like we can all agree that these are not good stories. So why is it that it's the writing for Trina, but it's the characterization for Jocelyn? That
Mm,
frustrates me a little bit.
yeah.
I think that the writers don't know what to do with this age group. I think that they need to go ahead and graduate them and give them something else to do. It's not interesting. There was also this conversation about like Jocelyn not being able to like have a good love interest. I thought Dex was a good love interest. I think the problem that they continue to do. So if you think about the love interest between the two of them, so Trina had Spencer. Spencer was an established character who was brought back, and people, NAC was there. Everybody loved NAC. That was a great match. Trina also had Rory. People didn't like him. Trina also has Kai, and people don't like him. part of what they have in common is that they don't give them any backstory, or like the
Hmm.
backstory is very stupid. Like, so they gave Kai this football thing nobody cared about. Here we are, November 2025. Who's even thought about Kai in football? That was there was no reason for that to be his backstory. Rory, we got no backstory. Dex survived off pure charisma, but and like chemistry with Jocelyn, but that was not successful because they haven't given Dex a backstory. They killed him off. They could have made Dex something. I still believe they killed him off prematurely, and now you
Hmm.
have her with Vaughn, and that he has no backstory. That's not interesting, and nobody wants to see her with this man. Maybe Joss and Vaughn have fans. I have not seen them. But anyway, I just say that to say that like it I am always disheartened by the way people talk about these young women. And I don't know, just it feels unfortunate. And it also feels like we can't advocate for the right things because it's always this one-upsmanship of between these two like characters. And it's gone back because you don't see people talking about Emma this way because they've just had it out for like this Trina versus Jocelyn thing for so long. So anyway, that's all I got.
I think it's interesting, and this the whole common thread is the lack of backstory. I mean, even the people that we liked them with, like we liked Dex and Jocelyn, and we were
We
trying to
did.
come up with backstory for Dex. We're like,
Yeah.
he's related to
Dante.
Dante, or he's Jason's son, or he's somebody. We were trying to make him more permanent, and the writers would not listen to us. We even did that for Kai to an extent. We're like, where's his parents? His parents need to come in town. Nobody would listen to us. And you want these to be popular romances? I don't think they actually do, because if they did, they would have made the characters more permanent. They would have given them a backstory. They would have, done more to get us to actually appreciate the characters themselves versus just the idea of them being in a romantic relationship. And I think
Hmm.
that's the key. Um, so to that end, I would just say, writers, listen to us more. If you want your couples to be popular, give us what we need in order to make them popular. Which makes
Yeah.
me think that they don't actually want them to be as popular. They wanted the Trina and Spencer thing. I guess they kind of wanted the Dex and Joss thing, but they didn't want it as much as they wanted the Trina and Spencer thing. But you know, and then also I think, the part about Joss and Enid is that those who hate on Joss and Eden are kind of part of the crew that hates on Carly. It's like it's a weird thing, and what I really don't like is when you have these factions that are so fixated on the character and the actress that everything
Yeah.
that surrounds them is horrible. And we see
Hmm.
that with Laura Wright on the internet. We see that with Michelle Stratford on Y&R. It's like really crazy. And I really wish that these fandoms would calm down and take a breath,
Yeah.
but they don't. And it's just like, it makes it such a negative experience for everyone.
Hmm. And there's also like this act like as if and maybe people do, who knows? It's
Right.
possible that they search their name. People search their name all
Yeah.
the time. But also, let's not pretend like we're not on the same algorithms and stuff doesn't just come up on your For You page. So if
Right.
you're Laura Wright and you interact with people who are Carly fans and Carly is a name that comes up on your For You page, then the negativity around Carly would also happen. Like if
Yeah.
you're somebody like Eden, who I think that she stays off social media now, which is good for her mental health, but
Yeah.
she would interact with fans around Jocelyn, around her work. If you're hating on her, that also comes up on her For You page. So there becomes this thing like, well, you shouldn't be searching your name. Well, one, okay, like sub Twitter is small, but also like let's not pretend like that is necessary. Like these are not big actors who have like
Right.
millions and millions and millions of fans. This is like a soap audience. So yeah, it comes up on your For You page. I don't know. It just
Hmm.
yeah, sometimes the cruelty, I don't know. I guess my endpoint is just to be kind. Advocate
Yeah.
for who you like without having to like tear anyone else down.
Yep. Exactly. Don't feed it. See, X and Twitter X does it on purpose. They bring it's almost like the negativity is what brings in dollars for them.
It
And so
is,
they
yep.
pull it, they bring it, and then they hype it, and then they cultivate, like, they make it easier for trolls to get in the mix. And, so half of it is AI. I just heard that now they're allowing you to see where accounts come from. You can see that some of these people aren't even real, or they're from another country or something. It's just like, it's wild and crazy, and yet we fall for it and we fall into it. And it's so easy. I'm just like, it makes it like I kind of feel sorry for the youth right now to be kind of immersed in this world. And there's nothing that I think the internet is really doing to protect our youth, even though they say that they are. They say that, oh, we have these teen controls. I'm like, mm-mm, it's probably not
Yeah.
even good enough. They can probably bypass that, and they still see all this negativity, this harassment, this bullying, which is like a horrible thing that we as human beings do to one another. Um, yeah, be kind,
Mhm.
be different, y'all. Be kind. That's
Yeah.
the only way. Love is the only way to fight evil.
Okay. On that note, let's look at the weekend. Okay. Monday, the Quartermain celebrate Thanksgiving. Willow walks down the aisle. Trina is in for a shot. Huh. Maybe she
Mm,
sees a sonogram.
maybe she finds out. Yeah.
Yeah, Isaiah makes a sacrifice. Nathan tracks down a suspect. Tuesday, Willow makes a big decision. Laura gets a happy surprise. Michael receives a tempting offer. Emma is determined. Brooklyn backs up Gio.
Mm.
Wednesday, Curtis makes a revelation. Nina is distressed. Emma and Gio make their move. Lulu delivers some tough love. Laura opens up. Thursday, Jason offers wise counsel. Britt drowns her sorrows. Sidwell wields his power. Jordan offers reassurance. Molly is stung. And Friday,
Stung.
yeah, I don't know. Um, Friday, Sunny is back into a corner. Britt leans on Jason. Carly tries to make amends. Laura is haunted. Ty is there for Trina.
Oh, so he's still on the canvas then.
Who knew?
Well,
Well, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Um, Hype up the video. Buy us the coffee if you so choose. We will see you next week. Bye.
bye.